Baggio Leung, a protester in the 2014 Umbrella Movement. He was elected to office, but disqualified and thrown in jail for challenging the system. Now he shares what's changed in this battle for Hong Kong. Welcome to China Uncensored. I'm Chris Chappell. Joining me today is Baggio Leung, a Hong Kong politician and activist. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for interviewing me.
Sure. So, what was your reaction when 2 million Hong Kongers took to the streets to protest the extradition bill?
It's just a quite touching moment to me. When you get into the transportation, metro, everything, you feel like all people, 90% of them is wearing black clothes. The other 10% maybe they are medias, wearing a media shirt.
Yeah, that was me.
And this like all people is standing as one. So it's quite touching me.
Now, after the Umbrella Movement, were you concerned that Hong Kong had lost its will?
After the Umbrella Movement, we felt actually in the movement. We felt to have universal suffrage, which is our main focus of the movement. And then different people try to come out, try to form parties like me, try to have different action to make Hong Kong better. However, most of us fell again. And in year 2019, luckily, we did have some progress this time. Of course, I would not claim this is a victory, but we have some progress on the bill, extradition bill.
I know you were a democratically elected legislator, but then you were disqualified because you changed the oath and then they threw you into jail. Did you ever imagine that would happen in Hong Kong?
We can never imagine before in Hong Kong, I think. In the past few years, actually, we have a lot of strange incidents that we cannot imagine. We cannot imagine the police forces will shoot at their own people and the press. We cannot imagine they can disqualify before the election and after the election. We cannot imagine that the government can have no response to what people want at all. They will just, even though Carrie Lam, she apologized last night. However, still she didn't promise anything that we want, including no prosecution to the protesters, including no extradition bill amendments later on, and so everything. I don't think if I look back when this is 10 years ago, I can't imagine Hong Kong will change to this position or situation.
Do you think your disqualification discouraged other young people from trying to make changes within the system?
It is. Because if you want to take part in the election, firstly, they will have officers, government officers, to trying to disqualify you with some reason like you are not sincerely agree the basic law. And after this, even though when you get into the parliament, the legislature, they can still use different kind of reason to try to put some charges on you or disqualify you, like a lawful assembly in the legislature building when you are working. Okay, so actually, government is putting a strong message on the young, especially to the youngsters, is that we cannot change much within the system.
Would you do anything differently?
When I look back, I will still do the same thing. Because what I add to the office that I bring a threat, Hong Kong is not China. Now, in year 2019, still we are saying Hong Kong is not China. So we say no to the extradition bill. And I changed the oath to that I want to guard Hong Kong nation interests. I was elected by the people, but not by basic law, not by Hong Kong SAR, and not by CCP. But I need to take an oath that is nothing related to the people. So I add this. And still, I think what I should do, who I should guard is Hong Kong people interests.
So what have you been doing since you were disqualified and thrown into jail?
In Hong Kong, we are at the front line that between some values of freedom, democracy, and the dictatorship. China, CCP is the greatest dictatorship in the history, and we are just in the front line, Hong Kong. And everyone who brings all the same ideology actually facing such a threat from them. I'm not the only one. Many people, maybe some protesters at the front line, they suffer even much than me. I'm not the only one. So I will do what I can to try to make Hong Kong a better place.
How do you think these protests for the extradition bill are different from the umbrella movement?
I think the one main difference I can observe is that we have no icon figures or so-called leaders in the extradition bill movement. In the umbrella revolution, we have Joshua Wong, we have Bandy Tai, we have a lot of figures that can represent the people. However, after the movement, all of them are being put into jail. Okay, and people will learn from this history. Okay, if we have a leader, and then the leader will suffer. So that this time let's make this no leader, and somehow it works. We form small circles, we join small circles by ourselves, and decide what to do, when to do on the internet, and through different Telegram channel, Telegram groups, and somehow this new model somehow improves out, and the government seems like they just cannot respond to this.
Well, speaking of that, what do you think Carrie Lam should do over the extradition bill?
She should promise two things. Firstly, to make a promise that there will have no prosecution on the protesters. And the second thing is that she should promise not to put the bill onto the legislator forever.
Yeah.
I think Hong Kongers and people around the world shows what we show our views already. We don't need this bill, and we have different solutions to solve so-called the problem, the bugs of the system. And please just consider those options, those solutions, but not to amend the extradition bill and put people into danger.
Well, if she doesn't do that, what do you think the Hong Kong people will do?
If she doesn't promise this, I think Hong Kong people will have some extra action on this and keep putting pressure on the government and try to make her change her mind. We don't want to put this into a really threatening way, but if she keep sitting here making no change, I don't think this is acceptable to the people.
Do you think any kind of reform is possible in Hong Kong as long as the Chinese Communist Party rules mainland China?
Unfortunately, I don't think we can change a lot. We cannot change a lot about power structure. We cannot change the system. We cannot have universal suffrage because from the history we can know that CCP won't let or won't release the power on his hand. This is the core idea and core interest they care about. So universal suffrage, rule of law, separation of power, etc. Such idea that will make constraint or limit their power. They will try to break all of this. But this is what we treasure. And so I think try to make some separation between Hong Kong and China is the best solution to solve the problem right now in Hong Kong.
And what message would you like people around the world to get about Hong Kong? How can they show support?
China, CCP, indeed, they are kind of imperialism. They try keep expanding their influence among the world. They are a very huge dictatorship to the world and threatening the freedom, democracy, such idea among the world. Hong Kong, we just unfortunately standing the front line between these core values and a great dictatorship. So please support this front line. We will fight till the end, but please support us. Please stand with us.
Well, that was wonderful speaking to you. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much.
And good luck out there.
Good night.